Doctor's warning: stop eating eggs this way after 60. Avoid these 5 mistakes. Have you ever cracked an egg into a sizzling pan, feeling good about the healthy meal you're about to make, only to realize that you might be making a mistake that could turn this superfood into a hidden health risk? It's a question worth asking because eggs are often celebrated as nature's perfect food, packed with high-quality protein, essential vitamins like B12 and D, and critical minerals like selenium and choline. They're a staple in kitchens worldwide. From the world's top athletes to the busiest parents, eggs have long been praised as a nutritional powerhouse. Even legends like Tom Brady swear by a clean, high-protein diet to fuel their peak performance. But here's the truth: just because eggs are healthy doesn't mean we're always eating them the right way. In fact, how you store, cook, and pair your eggs can mean the difference between fueling your body with top-tier nutrition or unknowingly exposing yourself to harmful compounds that contribute to inflammation, digestive issues, and even long-term health risks. Now, before you panic and start questioning every omelet you've ever eaten, let's get one thing straight: eggs are still an incredible source of nutrition. But like any powerful food, they require careful handling. The real issue? Most of us are making subtle, everyday mistakes that sabotage their benefits. These mistakes are so common that you might not even realize you're making them, yet they could be affecting everything from your heart health to your brain function. Think about it. If the way you cook your eggs every morning could mean the difference between boosting your metabolism and increasing your risk of disease, wouldn't you want to know? Today, we're breaking down 5 of the biggest mistakes people make with eggs. Some of these are so ingrained in our habits that you'll be shocked to learn how they're affecting your health. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around until the end, because mistake number 4 is one that very few people talk about, but it could be the biggest game changer for your long-term well-being. So, if you care about your health and want to get the most out of the food you eat, do yourself a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the best health tips backed by science. And let's make this a conversation. Drop a 1 in the comments if you're excited to learn something new today, or a 0 if you think I should do better next time. Now let's dive in, because the way you're cooking your eggs might not be doing you any favors, and it's time to fix that. If you're the type of person who loves a crispy fried egg with golden brown edges, or if you boil your eggs until the yolk turns that dull greenish-gray color, thinking you're just making breakfast the way it's supposed to be, you might be making a critical mistake without even realizing it. And let me tell you, you're not alone. Even some of the most health-conscious people who swear by clean eating, are getting this wrong. You ever wonder why someone like LeBron James, who relies on nutrition to maintain peak performance in his late 30s, is so precise about the way he eats? It's because the way you cook your food is just as important as what you eat. Eggs are one of the most complete, nutrient-dense foods on the planet. They're packed with high-quality protein, essential vitamins like B12 and D, and powerhouse antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, which help protect your eyesight as you age. But here's the catch: exposing eggs to high heat for too long changes their entire nutritional profile. You've probably noticed it before: the sulfuric smell of an overcooked boiled egg, that rubbery texture, or the way fried eggs get tough and greasy when cooked on high heat. That's not just about taste or texture. That's your eggs losing their essential nutrients and turning into something far less beneficial for your body. The science is clear. Cooking eggs at too high a temperature for too long can oxidize the cholesterol and healthy fats inside them, creating compounds that contribute to inflammation and long-term health risks. The very food you're eating to support your heart and brain could be working against you if you're not careful. And here's where it gets interesting: this isn't just about nutrient loss. Overcooked eggs can actually create harmful byproducts, like oxidized cholesterol, which has been linked to an increased risk of heart disease. That gray-green ring you see around the yolk of a boiled egg? That's iron sulfide, a reaction between sulfur in the egg white and iron in the yolk, which indicates the egg has been cooked past its optimal point. Now, let's talk about how this plays out in real life. David, a 74-year-old retired teacher, had been eating eggs the same way for decades. Every morning, he'd fry his eggs on high heat until the edges were crispy and the yolks were fully set, because to him, that's how eggs should be cooked. It was a routine, a habit. But over time, David started noticing some changes. His digestion wasn't as smooth, he felt bloated after breakfast, and he often had a lingering heaviness in his stomach. He didn't think much of it at first. After all, eggs were healthy, right? But then, during a routine conversation with his son, a nutritionist, David learned something that changed his entire perspective. His son explained how high-heat cooking can make eggs harder to digest, strip away their essential nutrients, and even introduce inflammatory compounds into the body. Skeptical but curious, David decided to make a simple change. Instead of frying his eggs on high heat, he switched to soft scrambling them over medium-low heat with a little butter. Instead of boiling them to the point of no return, he started soft-boiling them for just 6 to 7 minutes. And within weeks, he started noticing the difference. Less bloating, better digestion, and even more energy throughout the morning. And this isn't just David's experience. This is backed by science. Studies show that cooking eggs at lower temperatures helps preserve their delicate nutrients, especially antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, which are crucial for protecting your eyes and brain as you age. So, what's the best way to cook eggs if you actually want to keep all the benefits? Here's what I recommend. Soft-boiled eggs. Cook them for 6 to 7 minutes instead of letting them boil for too long. The yolk stays slightly runny, which helps preserve the essential nutrients. Poached eggs. One of the best methods because it keeps the egg intact while avoiding the harmful effects of high heat. Scrambled eggs. If you love scrambled eggs, go for a gentle, slow-cooked method on medium-low heat to keep them creamy and packed with nutrition. Fried eggs. If frying is your thing, use a little olive oil or butter and cook them on medium heat, flipping them before they get too crispy. It's a small tweak, but the difference is massive. So next time you step into your kitchen to cook breakfast, take a moment. Turn down the heat, be mindful of how long you're cooking your eggs, and make sure you're actually getting the nutrition you think you are. Because eating healthy isn't just about what you eat. It's about how you prepare it. And trust me, your body will thank you for it. If you've ever watched an athlete down a raw egg smoothie or seen a fitness influencer rave about the benefits of eating eggs in their purest form, you might have wondered, should I be doing that too? I get it. The idea of eating raw eggs has been romanticized for decades. Remember Rocky? The scene where Sylvester Stallone gulps down a glass of raw eggs before his morning run? That one clip alone has convinced generations of people that raw eggs are the ultimate fuel for strength and endurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Eating raw or undercooked eggs might be one of the riskiest things you can do for your health, especially as you age. And the worst part? The damage isn't always immediate. Let's start with the biggest and most dangerous issue: salmonella. Most people assume that because eggs come from a grocery store, they must be safe to eat in any form. But the reality is, even the cleanest-looking eggs can carry harmful bacteria right inside the shell. Salmonella is one of the most well-known culprits, and once it enters your system, it can wreak havoc on your body, causing severe stomach cramps, diarrhea, vomiting, fever, and in some cases, even hospitalization. For young, healthy people, food poisoning might mean a miserable couple of days. But for older adults, anyone with a weakened immune system, or those with pre-existing health conditions, a salmonella infection can turn into a life-threatening situation. Dehydration from vomiting and diarrhea can lead to kidney stress, heart complications, and long-term gut issues. And before you think, that's rare, it won't happen to me, let me tell you about Laura. Laura is a 67-year-old retired schoolteacher who always prided herself on staying active and eating well. Every morning, she would blend up a protein smoothie with bananas, almond milk, and 2 raw eggs, because she believed that keeping eggs in their raw state preserved more nutrients and made them easier to absorb. For years, she had no issues. Then, one morning, everything changed. She woke up with intense stomach pain, nausea, and an overwhelming feeling of weakness. By mid-afternoon, she was completely dehydrated, running a fever, and unable to stand without feeling dizzy. A family member rushed her to the hospital, where doctors quickly diagnosed her with a severe salmonella infection. She spent 4 days in the hospital on 4 fluids, struggling to recover from something she never thought would happen to her. The scariest part? The doctor told her that her infection likely came from just one contaminated egg. After that ordeal, she made a permanent change. No more raw eggs, ever. She still enjoys eggs daily, but now they're fully cooked, and she hasn't had a single stomach issue since. But let's say you're lucky enough to avoid salmonella. Eating raw eggs still isn't doing you any favors. Why? Because raw egg whites contain a protein called avidin, and avidin has a sneaky way of blocking your body from absorbing biotin, a crucial B vitamin responsible for keeping your hair, skin, nails, and nervous system healthy. Biotin is essential for energy production, metabolism, and even brain function. Over time, consistently eating raw eggs can lead to a biotin deficiency, which might cause fatigue, thinning hair, brittle nails, and even nerve-related issues like tingling in the hands and feet. So, while that raw egg might seem like a quick and easy protein source, it's actually interfering with some of the key nutrients your body needs to function properly. The good news? You don't have to give up eggs to stay safe, you just have to cook them properly. If you love runny yolks, go for soft-boiled or poached eggs instead of completely raw. These methods retain the creamy texture and most of the nutrients while eliminating bacteria and neutralizing avidin. And if you absolutely must have raw eggs in a dish, make sure to use pasteurized eggs. These have been heat-treated to kill bacteria without fully cooking the egg, making them a much safer option for homemade mayonnaise, salad dressings, or even that classic eggnog recipe you love during the holidays. The takeaway is simple. Raw eggs aren't worth the risk. Maybe when you were younger, your body could handle a foodborne illness without much trouble. But as we age, our immune systems aren't as strong, and recovering from an infection takes longer and can have more serious consequences. So, if you've been in the habit of adding raw eggs to your smoothies, mixing them into dishes, or even enjoying sunny-side-up eggs with completely runny whites, it's time to rethink that approach. Cook your eggs, protect your health, and most importantly, don't let old myths put you at risk for something completely preventable. You've probably heard the saying, if it looks fine and smells fine, it's probably fine. But when it comes to storing eggs, that logic can get you into serious trouble. Most people assume that once eggs are cooked, they're safe no matter how they're stored. But what if I told you that your storage habits could be turning your perfectly good eggs into a breeding ground for dangerous bacteria? And worse, these bacteria are completely invisible. You won't see them, you won't smell them, but trust me, your body will feel them. Now, before you think, come on, how bad could it be? Let me tell you about Mark. Mark is a 72-year-old retired engineer who likes to keep things simple. Every Sunday, he meal preps a big batch of scrambled eggs and hard-boiled eggs, storing them in his fridge to eat throughout the week. It's a habit he swears by: quick, easy, and efficient. But over time, something started happening. Mark began experiencing frequent stomach cramps, bloating, and nausea. At first, he chalked it up to aging. Maybe his digestion wasn't as strong as it used to be. But as the symptoms became more frequent, he started paying closer attention to what he was eating. Then, during a routine doctor's visit, Mark casually mentioned his stomach issues. The doctor asked about his diet, and when Mark explained his meal prep routine, the doctor's face changed. "How long are you keeping those eggs in the fridge?" "About a week," Mark answered. That's when he learned the truth. His eggs weren't as safe as he thought. See, cooked eggs have a shelf life, and leaving them sitting too long, even in the fridge, increases the risk of bacterial contamination. The bacteria responsible for food poisoning, like Salmonella and Listeria, don't just disappear when an egg is cooked. If eggs are left at room temperature for more than 2 hours, bacteria start multiplying rapidly. And if they're stored improperly in the fridge, they can still be at risk, especially if they're sitting near raw meat, unwashed vegetables, or anything else that could introduce harmful bacteria. That's where Mark went wrong. He thought his eggs were safe because they were in the fridge. But he wasn't storing them in an airtight container, and he wasn't eating them soon enough. After learning this, Mark made some changes. He started storing his eggs in a sealed container, keeping them separate from raw foods, and making smaller batches to eat within 3 to 4 days instead of a whole week. And guess what? His stomach issues disappeared almost instantly. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've been storing eggs like this for years, and I've never gotten sick. Maybe you've been lucky. Maybe your immune system has handled the low levels of bacteria before they became a problem. But here's the thing, as we age, our immune systems don't fight off infections as easily as they once did. A stomach bug in your 20s might have been a minor inconvenience, but in your 60s or 70s, it could land you in the hospital. So how do you store eggs the right way? It's simple. Never leave cooked eggs at room temperature for more than 2 hours. If you're meal prepping, make sure they go into the fridge as soon as they cool down. Store cooked eggs in an airtight container. This prevents them from absorbing odors and bacteria from other foods. Keep eggs away from raw meats and unwashed vegetables. Cross-contamination can introduce bacteria that cooked eggs aren't equipped to handle. Eat cooked eggs within 3 to 4 days. Even in the fridge, bacteria can slowly grow over time. The fresher, the better. And here's a bonus tip. If you ever reheat cooked eggs, do it properly. Microwaving eggs can make them rubbery and unevenly heated, leaving cold spots where bacteria can survive. Instead, reheat them gently on the stove with a little bit of water or butter to keep them moist and evenly warm. At the end of the day, eggs are one of the most nutritious foods you can eat, but only if you store them properly. Don't let poor storage habits turn the superfood into a hidden health risk. So, the next time you meal prep or leave leftovers sitting out, ask yourself, am I storing my food in a way that actually protects my health? If not, now is the time to make a change. Your stomach will thank you for it. You wouldn't drink spoiled milk, right? You wouldn't eat moldy bread or take a bite of fruit that's clearly gone bad. So why do so many people take the risk with eggs? One of the most delicate foods when it comes to bacterial contamination. Most people assume that as long as an egg isn't cracked wide open or doesn't smell horrible, it's perfectly fine to eat. But here's the reality. Eggs don't always show obvious signs when they've gone bad. And if you're not checking them properly, you might be playing Russian roulette with your health. Think about it, eggshells are porous, meaning they can absorb bacteria from their surroundings. That's why a cracked egg sitting in your fridge can become a breeding ground for Salmonella, Listeria, or E. coli faster than you think. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but what's the worst that can happen? Let me tell you about Evelyn. Evelyn is 74 years old, a retired librarian, and someone who prides herself on avoiding food waste. She hates throwing things away, so if she sees an egg in the fridge that looks fine, she figures, why waste it? One morning, she grabbed an egg from a carton that had been sitting in the fridge for, well, she wasn't exactly sure how long. She cracked it into her skillet, scrambled it up with some toast, and went about her day. A few hours later, her stomach started cramping. She brushed it off as just a little discomfort. But then, it got worse. Nausea, vomiting, and a fever that left her completely drained. She ended up in the emergency room with a severe case of food poisoning. The culprit? That one egg she didn't think to check. Evelyn never made that mistake again. After she recovered, she started doing something incredibly simple but life-changing. The water test. Here's how it works. Fill a bowl with cold water. Gently drop the egg in. If it sinks and lays flat, it's fresh. If it sinks but stands upright, it's still okay, but you should use it soon. If it floats, it's gone bad. Throw it out. This 1-second test could save you from a world of regret. But it's not just expired eggs that pose a risk. Cracked eggs are just as dangerous. When an eggshell cracks, bacteria from the air, your fridge, or even other contaminated foods can seep inside. And once that happens, no amount of cooking can guarantee that the bacteria will be destroyed. Some toxins produced by bacteria aren't even killed by heat. So here's the golden rule. If an egg is cracked, don't take the risk, just toss it. And if you ever crack an egg open and it smells even slightly off, don't convince yourself it's fine. Trust your nose. Trust your instincts. Throw it away. Now let's be real. Eggs are one of the most affordable, nutrient-packed foods out there, and the last thing you want is to waste them unnecessarily. But when it comes to your health, it's better to waste one egg than to spend days recovering from food poisoning. So from now on, before you crack an egg, ask yourself, is this something I should actually be eating? A few extra seconds of caution can make all the difference. If you're someone who cares about your health, you probably already know that eggs are one of the best sources of protein, vitamins, and healthy fats. But here's the real question. Are you sabotaging those benefits by cooking them in the wrong oil? You might not think much about it. Just grab whatever bottle is in the kitchen, pour a little in the pan, and move on. But what if I told you that the oil you're using could be turning your eggs from a superfood into something that quietly harms your body over time? Let's talk about the oils that most people use without thinking twice: vegetable oils like soybean, corn, or canola oil. These are in almost every household, and they've been marketed as heart-healthy alternatives for decades. But the truth is they're far from it. See, these oils are highly refined, meaning they go through an intense industrial process involving chemical solvents, bleaching, and deodorizing before they even make it to your kitchen. That process strips away natural nutrients and leaves behind unstable fats that oxidize easily when exposed to heat, which is exactly what happens when you fry or scramble your eggs. And here's the kicker: when these oils break down under high heat, they create harmful compounds like trans fats and free radicals, both of which are linked to chronic inflammation, heart disease, and even cognitive decline. Still not convinced? Let me tell you about Tom. Tom is 69 years old and has always been a creature of habit. Every morning, for years, he'd start his day the same way: 2 fried eggs cooked in whatever vegetable oil was on sale that week. He never thought twice about it. After all, eggs were healthy. What difference could the oil really make? But then he started noticing something. His joints felt stiffer, his digestion wasn't as smooth, and his energy levels weren't what they used to be. His doctor mentioned that his cholesterol levels were creeping up, and inflammation markers in his blood work weren't looking great. That's when he stumbled upon some research on the dangers of refined vegetable oils. The next morning, instead of reaching for his usual bottle of oil, he tried something different: extra virgin olive oil. Within weeks, he started feeling a noticeable difference. Less bloating, more energy, and his morning stiffness started easing up. At his next checkup, even his doctor was surprised by the improvement in his blood work. The lesson: the oil you cook with matters just as much as the food itself. So what should you use instead? Extra virgin olive oil, packed with antioxidants and heart-healthy fats. It's a great option for low to medium heat cooking, like scrambled eggs. Avocado oil with a high smoke point. It's perfect for frying or sautéing eggs without breaking down into harmful compounds. Ghee, clarified butter, a nutrient-dense, flavorful alternative that provides a dose of vitamins A, D, and K while being stable under high heat. If you've been using processed vegetable oils for years, don't panic. It's never too late to make a change. Your body is incredibly resilient, and switching to better oils today can help protect your heart, brain, and joints for years to come. So the next time you crack an egg into a pan, ask yourself, is my oil working for me or against me? Because small changes in the kitchen can lead to big improvements in your health. So here we are. We've just uncovered 5 of the biggest mistakes people make with eggs. Mistakes that can quietly sabotage your health without you even realizing it. But the good news? They're all incredibly easy to fix. Think about it. Cooking eggs at high heat? Now you know to dial it back to keep their nutrients intact. Eating raw or undercooked eggs? You've seen the hidden dangers and how to avoid them. Storing eggs the wrong way? A small adjustment can prevent bacterial contamination. Using cracked or expired eggs? A simple water test could save you from an upset stomach or worse. Cooking eggs in unhealthy oils? A better choice like olive oil or ghee makes all the difference. It's crazy how small tweaks in the kitchen can have such a huge impact on your health. And I get it, when we talk about health, people tend to think of big, overwhelming changes: cutting out sugar, hitting the gym every day, completely overhauling their diet. But in reality, the most powerful changes are the small, consistent ones. Just imagine this: waking up feeling energized, digestion running smoothly, no random bloating or sluggishness, no mystery aches and pains creeping in. That's not luck. It's about giving your body what it actually needs, and making these simple changes to how you handle your eggs. That's an easy place to start. If you learned even one new thing today, drop a 5 in the comments. I want to know what stuck with you the most. And if this video gave you value, go ahead and hit like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next health-changing tip. Now, you know what to do. Go apply these changes. Try them out. And the next time you make breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you'll know that you're doing it the right way. Not just for flavor, but for your long-term health. Your body will thank you for it.